Okay, welcome everyone. Another edition of It's Still Real to Me. And of course, everything Zaslow Show 2.0 brought to us by the title sponsor of our program, Andrade and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. You're involved in any kind of an accident, hit and run, slip and fall, motorcycle, boating. You go where they're going to treat you like family, get you the compensation you deserve. Andrade and Levine Accident Attorneys. 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. Our pal, of course, is Joey Levin, my partner here for every episode of It's Still Real to Me. And we have a show for you today. We're going to react to Saturday night, 2 nights ago's Royal Rumble from St. Petersburg Tropicana Field, which, of course, I was there in attendance, the third Royal Rumble I've ever attended. It was the most fun I've ever had at a Royal Rumble. Of the three, it was the best that I've been to. It was so much fun. And I will also tell you, Joey, it's the most fun I've ever had at a WWE event, period. The best time that I've been to a lot of shows. All right. I've been to probably like a dozen total pay-per-views, been to lots of Raw, lots of SmackDown. The most fun I've ever had at a WWE show was this Saturday night. I'll tell you exactly why in a second. But hey, if you want to look up odds, Wrestlemania, all that stuff, we got the big game in a couple weeks. We know the participants: Kansas City, San Francisco. Bet Online is your number one source for playoff football odds, stats, trends, and lines, with everything from point spreads to hundreds of player performance props. Head to Bet Online today to stay updated on all the action. Bet Online, the game starts here. How you doing, Joey? What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. I'm just still, coming down from the Rumble. It was awesome. Great show. I'll tell you what, though. Twitter's going to do what Twitter does. Torn on the show. A lot of negativity towards the men's Rumble, which is weird to me because the Rumble was fun. And particularly, obviously, we'll talk about the end, but the Rumble, the men's Rumble itself, I thought was great. So I don't know what these people are talking about, but yeah, I'm ready to go, man. That was a fun show.
So normally we come at you guys on a Sunday night, and either 7 p.m. or lately it's been 9 p.m. after I get off ESPN Radio primetime. We're coming at you tonight right before Raw, mainly because last night, we don't even need to get into it. I needed to go to the Travis Scott concert last night, which yes, those were. Yeah,
you told me that, and I was. When you texted me about that, and I was just. There was all types of questions I had, but I figured you'd talk about it.
The quick story of it is my son, Travis Scott, played at Kaseya Center last night. My older son, who's 15, him and his friends, they love Travis Scott. And look, you could attest to this. You're Jewish. You grew up a Jewish kid. Jewish teenagers love rap music. Like, did you have that experience as well growing up?
I did. I don't think I was going to Travis Scott at 15. But I did. Actually, I went to Kanye at 15, but it was a very small show. Very like limited seating. Wasn't an arena show.
Now, I wasn't into rap music growing up, but Jewish teenagers love rap music for whatever it is. All right. And so, yeah. So my son and his friends, they love Travis Scott. I got them tickets and they got dropped off at the show. But because, the show started at 9. I'm on the air until 9.
Your son, he'd probably love this. This is a vinyl of Kid Cudi, Travis Scott, the Scotts when they came out. Like,
I'm sure my son would love that. I'm sure he would love that. But so they get dropped off at the arena at 9 p.m. I'm wrapping up primetime here in my house on ESPN. And the condition was we had 4 tickets. I got to go and at least be there, So I said, fine. I'll get off the radio off ESPN. I'll drive down to Miami, which is obviously what I want to do on Sunday night. I'll drive down after coming back from Royal Rumble the night before. I'll drive down to Miami, and so I'm at the Travis Scott show, which was a fucking scene. I mean, it's difficult for me to even describe what it was. It was pretty crazy. It's not for me by any stretch, but it was.
To be honest, Travis Scott's not really for me either. This is more of a Kid Cudi thing than a Travis Scott thing. But anyways, yeah, he's not really not really for me.
So that's why we didn't do it last night. That's why we're coming at you right here. So if you're listening on the podcast form, love that. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment. If you're watching the live stream right now, hit the notifications, the bell, whatever it is. If you're getting the notification on Twitter, make sure you also sign up on YouTube, Facebook as well. We love that. So let's get to it here. Before we get to, I'll tell you my experience at the Rumble, and we'll each give our thoughts. That's what we're doing here today. But let's start with the big news, right? So CM Punk got hurt in the Rumble. He tore his labrum. He tore his tricep. And
I'm still yet to find out if it's the same one he tore in AEW.
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
It's not the same one. And apparently this is a 4 to 6 month recovery. So he's out. He's out for WrestleMania. It's a disaster. And so he's going to be on Raw tonight. I wonder if he'll kick off this show. My guess is no, because you get the audience to stick around. CM Punk coming up tonight, but it's going to be one of those
first hour commercial free. They announced.
Okay, so maybe he will be in the first.
I don't know if that means anything, but they tweeted that out earlier.
Okay, so I'm excited for Raw tonight. Anyway, reaction from Royal Rumble. It's in Tampa tonight, but Punk is going to speak. We'll hear what happened, how long he's going to be out, and it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah, I think. I hate to say this. Well, actually, I don't, because it's well documented on the show my thoughts on Punk since he came back to AEW. It hasn't really done it. It never really did it for me in AEW. I don't think he's the same guy that we all fell in love with almost a decade ago now. Like, he's just not that guy anymore. To me, he was always anti-establishment was what made him great. I texted you this earlier. In the past 2.5 years, he has basically been out of action for 1.5 years due to injuries and suspensions, and now he's out for another half a year. I think he might be done, man. He's 45.
Washed.
Well, it's not even that. He's 45 years old. He can't stay healthy. The suspension thing, it was always a speculation for every WWE fan. How long is this guy going to stay? How long is he going to keep this thing going until he gets mad and does something dumb? Well, in AEW, he broke his foot, came back 2 months later, tore his tricep, came back 6 months later, and then about a year or whatever, 6 months later, suspended. So it's already looking like the same trajectory. Although this is his first match in WWE, which is a shame.
I guess technically second. He had the match at the Garden.
Right, first TV match.
Yeah.
It's a shame because it seemed like the Rollins Punk thing for Mania was awesome because there's so much seemingly real life heat there.
Yep.
It seemed like a fun story.
Yep.
So that sucks. But man, I don't know how many 6 months later, he's essentially been out of action for 10 years. Like, can this guy really be a full-time wrestler anymore? And the question for WWE now is like, this is his third major injury in 2.5 years. Can you even trust him to bring him back and be a Mania component in a spot like this?
Well, and I would say if you were ever considering putting a title on him, you probably can't.
100%. Yeah.
You can't stay healthy.
Right.
That's what I always think was their big hesitation with Samoa Joe.
Right.
Couldn't stay healthy. Every time they tried to push him, couldn't stay healthy. That's going to be a real thing now with Punk. It's really unfortunate. It's lousy. You wanted, and so I guess we're not going to get Punk and Rollins. Let's save this until we actually talk about the men's Rumble and how it affects everything. But now they have to, they got to pivot from that.
Well, I think
we know what the pivot's going to be.
Yeah, I think we have an idea. The prevailing thought was Punk goes and wins Elimination Chamber and challenges Rollins, right? I think that's what most people were anticipating. So Chamber is now still going to be for the title shot, obviously. So now we just see who are the components of the Chamber. I think we could probably guess like how many people are in Chamber? 6? I think we could probably guess like 3 or 4 of them already. But
do they mix SmackDown and Raw competitors?
Well, I guess it depends on if it's for a number 1 title shot, or if it's for a number 1 contender shot at the world title, then it's probably just Raw. Okay. I would get. They probably do it depending on what it's for. Okay. I would guess. Well, maybe not. I don't know. I guess you could put anybody in it and then just say, all right, if you win, now you're on Raw.
Because it would be for Raw. It would be 6 competitors from Raw. But I think we both know the guy who's going to win it is on Raw, is going to be from Raw.
Yeah, but I have some thoughts on some ways they could go. That would be interesting. But yes,
Okay.
I feel like they set up the, the fail safe on last Monday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they did. All right. So let's get to it here. First, my experience at the Rumble, like I said, it was the most fun I've ever had at a WWE show. And let me explain what that means is I went with my 12-year-old son, Jordan, who still very much likes wrestling, doesn't watch it every night. Like, he's going to watch Raw with me tonight. He doesn't watch it religiously throughout the week, but he is into it and he loves going. And the way that he is, you take him to the WWE show, he's into it. He cheers. He loves it. All right. And if you're going with your son who behaves that way, it's an awesome time. So then I get into it in the same fashion. And it was the most fun I've ever had at a show. So here's what happened. Let me explain what happened here. So I don't know if I told you, going to the show, we had seats in the 200 level, which is kind of like their club level, I guess. We'd be, if you could picture it, the ring was on the pitcher's mound. The hard camera was facing home plate. The ring was on the pitcher's mound. And our seats were in the club level, third base. So I felt like, okay, pretty good. And in all honesty, when we got there, I was having trouble seeing the wrestlers in the ring. It's far. I was having trouble actually being able to see what was going on. Well, when we got to the stadium to enter Tropicana Field, there's a special entrance which you can get right in essentially if you have floor access. All right. Well, I have one floor seat in addition to my 2 seats in the second level because WWE sent me a ticket. I was a credentialed media, WWE sent me a ticket, 1 floor seat. All right. But I only got 1. I don't have for my son. So I go, I figure, all right, this will at least get me into the quick entrance. I got mine. They're not going to say my son has to go somewhere else. They're just going to let us in. So I show them floor, like, okay, very good. Come this way. He'll give you your wristband. I go up to the guy because that's how they let you onto the field at that point. They're not checking everybody's tickets once you're inside. If you have the wristband, you get on the field and you go to your seat. So I go to the guy and I show him, and he goes, all right, here's your wristband. And he goes, 2, right? 2 wristbands? I go, yeah, 2 wristbands. Yeah. And so he now puts the wristband on my son. And I told him, I'm like, dude, that was huge what just happened right there, And so when we're in our seats, our real seats, I was having trouble seeing. And so I told my son, I said, you see that section right down there? And I'm pointing to it. And there were a lot of open seats, actually. This is like a section behind a section, all right? It was right next to the soundboard and the hard camera. And there were a lot of open seats there. I said, that's where my field seat is. Do you want to go down there and see what that's like? And so he goes, yeah, sure. So after the Women's Royal Rumble match, we went down. They didn't check our ticket because all you need is the wristband. So we walked right onto the field. And if I could tell you something, have you ever been to a stadium show for WWE?
I went to Mania, yeah.
But have you ever been on the field for a stadium show?
No.
Okay, so this was my first time also on the field for a stadium show. And part of it is because it was a dome, so it's dark. And when you walk onto the field and it's 50,000 people surrounding you and it's loud, it's a scene. Like, it is really, really cool. And so we're both on the field. My son's jumping around. He's super excited. Like, we're here. We walked to the section where my seats were. We walked right to the very front row of the section. There were 2 empty seats right on the aisle in the very front row. All right, this is us. And we sat there the whole night. And because it was on the aisle, we had an amazing vantage point, unblocked to the ring. We're about 150 feet from the ring, but undeterred view. So we had an amazing, amazing view of the final 3 matches. And on top of that, because our seats were up against a rail in between us and the soundboard and the hard camera, unbeknownst to us, totally coincidence, this was the rail where the wrestlers exit the Royal Rumble through the crowd.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Total coincidence.
I saw Gunther walk out that way. That's the only one I saw walk
all
out.
of them.
Right.
All of them did. Yeah. And so the whole night, my son's giving
that's because they don't want to interrupt people coming in if they're coming in.
Of course, yeah, that would look
Yeah.
really awkward, you know?
Yeah.
So the entire night, my son is giving high fives and taking pictures with every wrestler that's leaving the ring.
Nice. That's awesome.
We had
really
an amazing time. Amazing time. And yeah, that's the way I'm going to do it from now on. Is I got to buy floor seats for the big shows.
I mean, once you do it, I mean, you can't go back. It's hard to
It
go
was
back.
too far. I was really struggling and I got good sight. I don't wear glasses or nothing. I was really struggling seeing the wrestlers in the ring. All right. Anyway, overall, let's start with the women. I loved it. I think it was the best women's Royal Rumble match of all time. It's only been like 7 or 8.
Far, absolutely.
I think it's the best one.
I think easily. I thought they couldn't have started off the night better. I really genuinely loved the women's Royal Rumble. I thought it was very, very, very well done. Everything about it. The returns, the debuts. I don't think they could have done much better. I know there's a lot of people for both matches that are complaining there wasn't any like legends or anything, but you know what? I don't think it needed it. I thought the way they did it
Bayley made
perfect.
a great point about that post match. Did you hear what she said?
She said there's so many good women that we get to highlight now. We don't need the legends to come back, that is a testament to where the women's division is now, because there was a point, but when the Royal Rumble first started for the women, you did need some legends in that match.
Oh yeah,
the division really wasn't that loaded, but it's something now. I mean, there's a handful of women in that match that are probably like filler, so to speak. But I'd say 20 to 25 of them are legit like performers in that division.
So we get things going right off the top. Natalia's number 1 and Naomi's number 2. Now, I'm not a huge Naomi fan, but I thought she looked phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Even if you're not a fan, it's like, even if you're not the biggest fan, we talked about this. The Rumble is about the moments and the returns. So like at number 2 to have a return like that.
Yep.
To be there in that moment, you're probably like, holy shit, this is going to be the best match ever.
Really cool. It was really cool. And it's also great. There's little things that I love about stuff like this, where making her number 2 as opposed to number 1 makes all the difference in the world. If she comes out number 1, it takes some of the juice away, because she's standing there waiting for number 2. Because she's number 2, she gets to be in the ring and have the stare down and look around, and like it's a subtlety coming in number 2 instead of number 1. And it makes all the difference in the world when you're a returning star like that. So I thought it was an awesome moment. It's also something about wrestling today that I love compared to maybe when I was a kid, where they're okay with the wrestlers like Naomi in that spot showing the emotion. She looked like she was about to cry in the ring, looking around. And I love that shit, man. Yeah. So I thought she looked phenomenal, and it was a great start to the match.
And I got to give her credit. I mean, after all of that, I thought like the first few minutes, and it might have been nerves or whatever, because I know she's not rusty. She's been wrestling. She looked slow. She looked a little off. But then she went like 60 minutes. Like she went.
So is she WWE now?
Yeah. Well, so obviously we got to talk about we'll talk about the Jordynne Grace thing. But my understanding is Naomi's contract with TNA is up, and she was coming back to WWE. But obviously the fact that the TNA champion Jordynne Grace enters the Rumble, and now it's seemingly the relationship between TNA and WWE is not done, brings into question where the future lies there. But
why do you say seemingly it's not done?
Because Jordynne Grace tweeted out like, "That's not the last you've seen of me."
Oh, that's awesome. Cool.
And I think Triple H referenced something in the press conference about potential. I thought he like implied something, but maybe I might have misheard.
Well, it would appear to be a thing where every year the Knockouts champion is going to be in the match.
That felt as though there's a relationship forming here. I don't know what it means. Maybe it means like WWE, some WWE guys can go to TNA too. Like, I don't know, but it seems as though this was not a Mickie James situation, right? This was not like Mickie James, who is a WWE Hall of Famer, basically coming back for the Rumble with the title. No one knows Jordynne Grace in WWE unless you're a hardcore fan. Like, giving her that moment. Plus, just like the acknowledgement with her and Naomi in the ring hugging each other before.
God, that was such a cool moment with the hugging, and great job by Michael Cole letting you know they just wrapped up a rivalry where
2
Jordynne
weeks
Grace
ago
won the title back from Naomi, and they do the hugging and then immediately into the punches. That spot was very cool.
They literally just fought for the title a week or two ago in TNA, and now they're in the ring together fighting at the Royal Rumble in WWE. That was an absurd moment. It was so cool.
And Jordynne Grace looks amazing. Like, I know very well what Jordynne Grace is. It seemed like a lot of the crowd did as well. I thought Jordynne Grace looked fantastic. It was really
Can I tell
cool.
you, there were moments in that
big star.
There were moments in that Royal Rumble where I was like, wouldn't be mad if she won this thing. Like, she's that good. First of all, she's a freak. And I mean that in the best possible way. She is an absolute specimen of an athlete.
Can we get like Jordynne Grace at WrestleMania if she's still under contract with TNA?
I guess anything.
Like, can she defend the TNA title at the Knockouts Championship at WrestleMania? Wouldn't that be cool?
It looks, Triple H won't say Forbidden Door. I don't know if you heard what he said in the press conference about that, but
I feel like that's a good sign. Him poo-pooing that,
Yeah, it seems as though the door is open though, like at least for TNA. Yeah. So very cool. And I also think it's just cool for the future of WWE, because when you think about, like, if they're willing to have TNA wrestlers come in and they have that relationship, then they're probably willing to do that with any promotion other than obviously AEW, who wouldn't do it. But like, that's a good sign for getting guys like, not Okada anymore because he's done, right, with New Japan. But what you get what I'm saying? Like, can you imagine a scenario where like Dolph shows up in WWE, but as a New Japan wrestler or as a TNA
they did that
wrestler?
In the past. There were WrestleManias really early on where NJPW stars were at WrestleMania. Like
back in the day. I remember
Hart fought somebody, I forget what his name is. Demolition one year fought a tag team at WrestleMania from New Japan, or maybe it was from All Japan. But yeah, like, anyway, you know what else I dug was when Jordynne Grace was making her way to the ring, and again, she looked like a superstar. I loved McAfee, whether this was real or not, playing dumb, saying, and she's the TNA champion. And then Michael said, yes, she's the Knockouts champion.
100% real. There's no shot Pat McAfee knows who Jordynne Grace is.
I think it was real too.
Pat McAfee watches WWE, and he probably doesn't even watch WWE that much, to be honest. Like, he's a WWE superstar, so to speak. Like, and he does his show. He watches football. Like, I watch his show enough to know I would bet a lot of money that he had no idea who Jordynne Grace.
I think he had no idea also. Oh, and because he called her Jade Cargill. Like, he didn't even pronounce, like, I think his knowledge outside of WWE, at least right now, is pretty limited. But
I would also say, based on what the rumors are, which is that his spot in the Rumble was supposed to be Brock's spot, I think there's a possibility he was not even going to be an announcer.
Probably makes sense considering his spot was with Bron Breaker and Omos standing in the ring. Like, Brock entering at that moment probably makes sense.
And it also makes me think that they maybe called him last minute to be the third announcer.
Did you see McAfee today said he didn't know?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think they may have called him like a day or two before and been like, hey, we need you to be at the Rumble.
I'm saying
I know his spot. I know.
He was at the announce table. He had no idea.
That's what he said. Yeah, I know. Which by the way, that might actually, I don't know if you remember this when we talked about this on the show. I said that when Shane McMahon blew out his quad or whatever, and Snoop Dogg improv the people's elbow, I said that was the best improv moment of all time in wrestling. McAfee going in the ring, getting scared from Omos, going out, coming back in, and then eliminating himself was a pretty good improv moment if he had no clue it was coming.
It's Macho Man style, eliminating himself for the top rope.
Yeah. Yeah. Or Mil Mascaras. Remember that?
No.
And it was like, I forgot what Rumble it was, but he did a Mil Mascaras, who's like lucha legend from Mexico, was in the Rumble one year, and he was fighting against, like, there was another luchador who got eliminated, and he went up to the top rope and did a dive outside of the ring and eliminated himself to do a dive outside the ring.
I don't remember. I don't remember.
It's an all-time moment. I think, I forgot someone referenced it not long ago, actually, on WWE TV, I think.
So I thought that was cool where Pat McAfee asked out loud, who is she? Because, like, let the viewer who doesn't know, let them in on it, So I thought that was really smart. Let's start rolling through the big spots here. Bayley obviously came in at number 3. And, like you had to notice, she wasn't happy when Asuka came down to the ring. And she wasn't happy when Kyrie came down to the ring. She didn't know that they were going to be in the match, and she didn't like it that they were going to be in the match. So was
we're
she
all mad or confused? Because I thought she was confused.
She was confused, but I think that's because she's like, why are you here? Like, this is my moment, Yeah. What? You don't want to win. I'm supposed to win. But anyway, Chelsea Green, fucking shout out, man.
She's awesome.
That was a performance. And it was so cool because last year she was eliminated immediately and they teased it again in this one. And she lasted a while, and just the facial expressions, the acting, all of it with Piper Niven, who I love. The two of them were studs throughout their time in the match. I thought Chelsea Green and Piper Niven were awesome.
I thought Chelsea Green was came out of this as one of the winners of the whole night. I mean, she was just,
I agree.
She is so good. And I mean, we know she's a good heel. We know she can talk, and we know she's a good wrestler, but then just to be able to execute on like that comedic type stuff in the middle of a match like that, where she's just taking all the bumps. She's taking all the bumps. She's getting squashed by Piper Niven. Like, all that stuff is just really, really good stuff. And they did like a digital exclusive backstage interview with her and Byron Saxton, and it was really good of her.
Okay.
Yeah. Like he tried to be like, well, at least you lasted longer. And she cut him off. She's like, oh, you have jokes? You have jokes, Brian? She calls him Brian.
That's funny too.
Yeah. So she's great.
She was a big star. Big star. Yeah, really.
She's
cool.
Awesome.
Bianca with the KOD to Jordynne Grace on the apron, eliminating her. Great spot.
That looked gnarly. The TV angle made it look, I think, a lot worse than it was, but it looked rough. But
great spot.
It was
great
awesome.
Performance from Jordynne Grace. Great performance. And so Nia Jax comes to the ring. And if you think Chelsea Green was one of the stars of the night, Nia Jax has got to be right next to her. And you know what? Since Nia Jax's return, number one, she looks great. She's lost a lot of weight. It probably helps her move around the ring a lot better. I mean, she's probably, I'd say she's lost at least 50 pounds. And like, she is what a top heel looks like. She is a major, major heel. She's so easy to hate, and she plays it up so well. I thought Nia Jax had a big-time performance.
Yeah, I thought she was good. I thought she was really good. And she did exactly what you would expect for her as the monster heel, especially the spot where, I think in the past, I think it's a sign of where she's at also in terms of her development and where they see her, is that in the past, the gang up would have led to her immediately getting eliminated. This time, the gang up led to her brushing everyone off and just dominating. Like in the past, they would have just eliminated her. Like she wasn't taken seriously before, but her getting that spot where she does the shrug off and everybody goes flying, that I think is a sign of where WWE feels about her as like a top level heel right now.
So I'm watching with my son there. And at this point, when Nia started throwing a few people out, I go, watch what's about to happen. She's clearing the ring for Jade. It's going to happen. Now, we have
I thought it was going to happen earlier, but it did.
Right. Me too. I said it. This is round 17. And I said to my son, they're clearing the ring for Jade. Watch what's about to happen. And now for people who are watching or listening to us right now, Joey called this months ago. The way to debut Jade Cargill at the Rumble, which she's obviously not going to win, the way to debut her at the Rumble and still have her come out on top is she comes out and it's immediate face-to-face with Nia Jax, and she eliminates her, and the crowd goes crazy. So we'll get to that part in a second, but Joey called this months ago that's the way to introduce her. So I said to my son, they're clearing the ring for Jade. We're going to get Jade here. It was Becky. And now shit's starting to pick up. Like now we're getting
there
the
was
heavy lifting.
Yeah, I mean, I will say after Becky, there was a little lull until Jade. Like there was a moment. I don't know if you guys.
No, I know,
it.
but the big stars are now starting to
Right.
come out. We're getting really good spots. So Becky comes out, things have picked up, and then so if we fast forward all the way to 28, we get Jade. And I mean,
although I do want to, after we talk about Jade, I do want to bounce back because there are two that we should point out that came out before Jade. I think they came out before Jade. Who was 29 and 30? Liv was 30.
Tiffany Stratton was 29.
Oh, Tiffany Stratton's who I'm thinking of. Okay, so she was after Jade. Okay.
So 28 is Jade, and now it's like, okay. And do you notice it was different theme, but very similar?
Yeah.
Yeah, very, like they kept the same type of theme, very, very similar. Not exactly the same. I'm sure AEW has the rights to it. That's why they couldn't use it. But that right there is how you present her as a big-time star. I mean, the crowd went crazy. And I watched the Women's Rumble back this afternoon on TV for the first time. But being there, the crowd went crazy when Jade came out. Just I mean, she looks like a million bazillion bucks.
Yeah, and Gio obviously agreed. Jade looked like $1 million. What a star! AEW dropped the ball.
Yep.
So everyone agrees. And Platinum Sword said best part was which we're going to talk about, I'm sure, the dueling press drops between Jade
now
and
we're
Bianca
getting all
Belair.
the really cool spots once Jade got in. So Jade gets in there and she lifted Nia Jax over her shoulders like it was nothing. And then the body slam over the top. The crowd went crazy. It was exactly like you said a couple of months ago. Yeah. It made all the sense in the world. And you were right.
And can I give you another theory? Is that Triple H has been building up Nia Jax to make Jade look like a star. Like this has all been part of the plan, was make Nia Jax these past few months look. I mean, she's obviously doing great work, so she has to do the work. But the build is because, and I'll tell you this, a lot of people are just assuming that it's going to be Jade and Bianca here. No, I think we're going to get Jade and Nia Jax for a while right now. And I think it's going to make Jade into an even bigger. I mean, she's going to look.
Well, that's why I wanted to ask you here. And we talk about the double press slam, which was a great spot. And the two of them then are looking at each other, looking each other up and down. These big, strong, beautiful black women are just grilling each other. And I'm thinking like, now they never touched each other, the two of them in the match. So I'm wondering, are they going to be friends or are they going to be enemies?
I would have them be friends. I would actually have him. You know what I would do? I would have them be a tag team and fight Kabuki Warriors at WrestleMania. I would not give Jade this quickly. I would not give her a solo match at WrestleMania. Unless it's maybe Nia and it's like just thrown in for a few minutes just to have. But I don't think she's a WrestleMania. I don't think she gets WrestleMania just yet, not as a solo competitor. But I also just think it's way too early for like Jade Bianca.
I think
when it happens,
her in a tag team with Bianca is.
But I also just think like it's huge. There needs to be a build there, like that collision. When it happens is like top level, like huge pay-per-view moment, and it's too soon. Like we only have 2 months to build that up. I don't think it's worthy of WrestleMania yet, but it will be. Like give it like a year, build up the tension between them, and then or make them be friends as a tag team or something or whatever, and then have Jade turn on Bianca because she's clearly, I mean, she's got a natural heel aura about her.
Did you see though? Michael Cole said what Jade was saying after she threw Nia Jax out, that apparently her line isn't anymore, "I'm that bitch." It's "I'm that chick."
PG. WWE's PG, you know, so she's got to do that.
Well, you know why she's also going to be involved a little bit with Bianca here, and I think it's going to be as friends. That gets blurbs and images of Jade on Bianca's new TV show on Hulu, which is exactly the type of stuff they want for Jade Cargill. If they have her involved with Bianca in some fashion, especially if they're friends, she gets attention on the show. And that's just more eyeballs on Jade, which is what you want because, she looks like a bazillion bucks.
Yeah, and I think there was a stretch where people wanted Bianca because she was getting a little stale to turn heel. She's not going to turn heel because she has
Can't
the
with this
TV
TV
show.
show. Can't.
So that's where you build them up as friends, and then when Jade turns on her, it's like, oh, make her really hateable, and then you have that is like, to me, that is a WrestleMania match. It's just not a WrestleMania match yet. It's just not. It's way too soon. Plus, we don't even know if Jade's ready for like that much. Like Bianca is, no matter what you think about the character, one of the best in-ring performers ever for a female. Like she could go 30 minutes at Mania. Yep. I'm not sure Jade is ready for even like a 10-minute match at Mania.
And she spent a good amount of time in NXT, Bianca.
Yeah. No, yeah. Like Jade has the look, and I think they've executed it. That debut, they executed perfectly. But we definitely have to like pump the brakes on where she goes now. I think you need to give her something a little bit easier to like, and no offense to Nia, but like, you don't have to do the most like grueling pace of a wrestling match if you do a feud with Nia where you have a few of those matches.
Mm-hmm. How about once she threw Nia Jax over and Becky is standing right there laughing, and then Bayley tries to attack Jade? The first 3 women in Jade Cargill's career that she put hands on: Nia Jax, Bayley, Becky Lynch. I mean, that's why she left AEW.
Yeah, I mean, look, they in one, in what, a handful of TV appearances in one match, she is 10 times, 100 times bigger than in presentation than AEW. That is all we ever did when Jade was in AEW, when she was the TBS champion. All we ever talked about was, why don't people know who this person is? Remember when she was 50-0 and we were like, we didn't even know she was 50-0? And then, like, the presentation was,
and then her very first appearance in WWE, she's putting hands on Becky Lynch.
Right. And the woman Bayley, who's is about to main event WrestleMania, or fight for a title at WrestleMania.
Well, win the title at WrestleMania. Anyway,
I mean, we got to talk about that situation, but because it's interesting. But I mean, no, they did. Yeah, that's it was an awesome debut. I mean, they really executed it perfectly.
Yep,
they really did.
Tiffany Stratton.
And I'll pat myself on the back for calling.
Amazing, you called it, man. Tiffany Stratton comes out at 29.
What a superstar she is. I mean, what an absolute star.
Massive star. Massive star.
I mean, she can fucking go. I mean, obviously she's good looking and she's got like a good gimmick, but man, she
massive star. Yep.
She is pulling out spots in the middle of the Royal Rumble where I'm like, holy shit. I don't even
the spot that she was eliminated with Bianca, the hair spot, that was very cool. Very cool.
That move she does where it looks like she's gonna, it's like she looks like maybe she's gonna do a Hurricane Rana and then it turns into like an Alabama Slam thing. Like, I don't know what that is, and she's the only person I've seen do it. She's awesome. Like,
there was just so much star power in the ring by now.
But I'm hoping this is her. I think she's on the main roster now. I think they got, like, her performance in the Royal Rumble to me is like it.
Maybe we'll see it tonight.
Keep her up there because she's big time. Like, I also point out, I love Roxanne Perez. I know she's tiny, like she's so small, but I'm a big fan of hers.
Small.
But she's still she's still in NXT. Like, I don't see her on the main roster just yet. But after what I saw in the Rumble from Tiffany Stratton, I'm ready. Keep her up. She's great.
Yeah, she's no business being in NXT. None.
Not anymore. I mean, she's ready to roll, man.
So then we got the final 3 after Liv Morgan comes out, which was a fun return. I forgot about it for a moment, so that was fun seeing her back. I thought she looked fantastic also. And
I thought I thought for a second she was going to win.
So we then get our final 3, which is Jade, Liv, and Bayley. And so at that point, I'm like, yes, it's going to be Bayley.
Yep.
It wasn't going to be Liv. She could win it another year. Totally. It wasn't going to be Liv. And it wasn't going to be Jade. Bayley's winning this thing. And the final spot there with the 3 of them out on the apron, which, by the way, always gives me agita. I get so nervous with the stuff on the apron, especially at the very end of the match, because I don't want someone to slip and we get the wrong finish. I get so nervous with the apron spot. And really cool spot where Liv does her finisher to Jade, and then Bayley just, kicks her out from underneath the bottom rope and wins. Dude, the crowd went bananas.
Yeah.
Bananas. Because there was a feel to it when Bayley came out at number 3. There was a buzz. immediately where this is who everyone wants to win. And you know, I've been on it. You called the Nia Jax Jade Cargill spot months ago. I've been on the Bayley train for at least a month. That this is the entire point of the damage control story. This is where we are headed. And plus, she never even had a singles match at WrestleMania. She has never had the big moment. The other women she's come up with, they have all had the massive moments, except for her. And the crowd is so ready to cheer for her again. And like I said, place went bananas when she won. It was a really cool moment.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. She's great. And you listen to Triple H talk about her in the press conference. You're just like, yeah, obviously she deserves this moment.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to do this, if it's going to be her and Io, the breakup has to happen this week. Like, they can't delay it anymore, because if she's going to choose Io, Elimination Chamber has to be for number one contender to Rhea. So, like,
how does the breakup happen?
That's what I'm saying. I know that, like, right now I'm looking at Bet Online. There's 3 matches for Mania that have odds.
Yeah.
Cody and Roman, which we know.
Yep.
Bayley and Io, Rhea and Becky. So,
yeah,
if that's the case, and they're already assuming that it's going to happen, the breakup has to happen like now, because how's Becky getting the shot? She's got to win Elimination Chamber. So
maybe we find out, right? Maybe we find out because Bayley was confused with Asuka and Kyrie. Why are you in this match? What is happening? And maybe Bayley finds out what Dakota has been doing, that Dakota's been pulling the strings behind her back. Bayley somehow, maybe she overhears them. Somebody shows her video footage. Bayley finds out what they've been doing behind her back. And then she's just like, yeah, this was my group, and now you think you're in charge? Fuck this. I'm coming for you. Like, maybe that's the way they get to it.
That's possible. I still think there's a chance she fights Rhea.
No.
I still think there's a chance. I don't know. I don't think
there's enough juice to Io unless Bayley's the challenger. There's a story there. And by the way, don't forget, they've done nothing with Io since she won the title. The whole point in her winning the title was to get to this. They've done nothing.
I don't know about that. She won Money in the Bank. The crowd loves Io. Like,
no, I know, but she hasn't had a single challenger for the title yet.
So you're basically saying that she won the title to be a holdover for Bayley to win it at WrestleMania? I don't know.
She won the title to get to a great program for WrestleMania. That's awesome for Io.
Yeah. I had this, I do this fantasy booking in my head. Is there, like, I was thinking, what if, I know this wouldn't be as satisfying for everybody, as satisfying as it would be like Bayley beating Io and becoming a babyface again. But what if, like, Bayley does know what Dakota Kai is doing and trying to, like, mastermind this thing, and Bayley actually is making a deal with the other 3 that like I'm gonna win at Mania. We're gonna have all the titles. I'm gonna take Rhea's title, and we're gonna kick Dakota out. And then they build Dakota into a massive babyface, and they have a Dakota Bayley.
I don't think it's believable that Bayley can beat Rhea.
Why not? She's a Hall of Famer. She's one of the best women ever.
I get that part of it, but
then who is realistic to beat? Like, but then who is realistic to beat?
Becky.
Why is Becky realistic?
But by the way, I don't think Becky's going to beat her at WrestleMania. I think Rhea's going to beat her.
Yeah, I don't think it. No, the only person I think can beat Rhea at Mania is Bayley, and it doesn't look like they're going to fight each other. But no one. But I don't think Bayley is. I don't know. I mean, maybe I see it differently. I don't think Bayley is less believable than Becky.
Oh, I think she is. Yeah.
I don't.
What's the last? Honestly, no. Honestly, what's the last big match that Bayley's won?
I don't know, but I don't know. But I'll just say this: like they
like, at least with Io going after Io, it's gonna be a vengeance match.
Yeah, no, I get it, and I think everyone's probably right. It's just, let's go. We got to get to it. Like, now is the time. It's got to happen like this week or next week. There's not enough time.
So do they kick Bayley out and they injure her She's off TV for a month, returns, and then we go full speed ahead for the WrestleMania program?
No, I think
because if she's away for a little bit and then
no.
she returns, imagine the babyface pop, big deal.
Yeah, but I don't think she's going to be like the reason I'm saying like we got to get this thing going is because they also have to set up Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And if they just injure her and she doesn't make a decision, then what is Elimination Chamber for?
Oh no, you know what I'm saying? Has to happen. Yeah, it has to happen.
But I'm saying, like, if she's injured and she just goes away for a month and then comes back.
Yeah, but like I asked, unless it's Raw and SmackDown superstars, and Becky wins it, and she chooses Rhea.
Yeah, I think I just feel like more likely they turn on her, or like you said, maybe she's like, I see what's going on here, and you know what? I'm not going to let you guys kick me out. I'm coming for you, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they can say, all right, well, now Rhea doesn't have a challenger. Boom.
Yeah.
Elimination.
That's the way that I see it.
It makes sense. It makes sense. But I'm still holding out this thought that it's Bayley and Rhea. And Bayley, they've been saying for months, I'm going to win Royal Rumble. I'm going to fight Rhea. We're going to have all the gold. Bayley and Rhea have been chirping each other on Twitter now. They've been going at, like, Rhea posed the idea of an Iron Woman match at Mania, and Bayley said she would do it. So, but she didn't say she picked her, but they've been going. I'm just saying I think I'm still holding out that possibility. And by the way, who's had the best women's Iron Woman match in the history of WWE? Bayley and Sasha Banks. Like Bayley can go. Bayley can do that.
By the way, I'll tell you what, anyone who's disappointed, like didn't like the Women's Rumble because Sasha Banks didn't show up, can fucking kick rocks. I mean, That match was awesome.
But can I also point out that even though the crowd likes Bayley and wants Bayley to win and become a face, Bayley is still a heel, and Rhea, as you pointed out, is very much a face now.
Yes.
So Rhea and Becky is two faces, which is fine because they have the Hall of Famer versus the up-and-comer storyline. But Bayley has the
two baby faces. You can't have two heels. You have two baby faces.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's fair. Let's talk about the two matches in between, and then we'll get to the men's.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest with you. Those matches,
there's not a lot.
The show itself, the way they booked the two Rumbles, I would have been perfectly fine with it just being the two Rumbles. It would have been a 3-hour show with just those.
Oh yeah, the show was 4 hours, all together. Yeah. It was a long show,
man. Midway through that match, they were losing me because it was just such a long show, and we still had the whole Rumble. I was just like, man, this is a long ass show for 4 matches.
Well, once the Universal title was the second match, that's when we knew Roman was definitely going to win. Because if Roman was not going to win, it goes on last.
Didn't we always know Roman was?
No, I know.
Yeah. And I think that. Remember on the last show, I talked about how I'm getting this. I'm not feeling it with Roman anymore.
You getting it back now?
Yeah, because now we have because I realized, and it's probably should have been obvious, nothing he's done has really mattered since he fought Jey Uso. Right? Like every match he's had since then, you're like, he's had like tag matches, which meant nothing. And then he's had these title matches, which you knew he wasn't. You knew if he wasn't losing to Cody and he wasn't losing to Sami and he wasn't losing to Jey, he's keeping that belt till Mania next year. So all the stuff in between him and Jey and now has kind of been meaningless because it's like these guys aren't going to beat Roman. But now you got Cody. Now it's like, all right, now we get going because this is now you don't know. Like we always kind of knew he was going to beat these 4 guys. We always kind of knew he was going to beat LA Knight. Now this is really like the big shit right now. Like it's
cool spot though. By the way, when AJ Styles almost won by stacking the other 3, that was cool.
Well, I actually thought that didn't they botch that? Like I thought they botched that part where who stacked who in that match?
Well, Solo was stacking them.
Okay, so when Solo stacked them, like who was it? Who was on top of the other? LA Knight was on top of AJ.
Yes. No, LA Knight was on the bottom. Orton's on the bottom.
Okay. LA Knight was on top of Orton.
Yeah.
And Orton's shoulders were on the mat. So LA Knight won that match.
No, what when the pin happened?
No. I'm talking about when Solo stacked him.
Oh, I see
technically,
but there was no referee counting.
Why? Well, that's what I'm saying. I was texting my brother while that spot was happening. I'm like, I think Solo just really fucked up. Like, because technically he put LA
You gotta
Knight
suspend disbelief a little bit, all right?
Yeah, but that's a mistake in that. And by the way, they had Corey Graves corrected on air. Corey Graves on air said both of their shoulders are down. That's why there's no count. But it took him like a couple minutes to say that.
Well, were both their shoulders down, or he was just on
That's
top
what he
of
said, but on camera it didn't look like it.
I don't think it was. Is it possible?
Right.
Hey,
but
in
I
order
think
to
they got in
complete a
Corey
pin,
Graves.
you have to be this.
I think they got in Corey Graves' ear and said, "Hey, we got to explain this because right now you have a guy getting pinned in the middle of the ring and no one's counting." Because Corey Graves pointed it out. He said, "Oh, look, both their shoulders are down." Even though we've seen matches before where two guys' shoulders are down and the ref counts them both, right? But still, in that scenario, LA Knight was pinning Randy Orton. LA Knight won the match. LA Knight's the Universal Champion.
So he's your champion.
He's my tribal chief.
Maybe he'll bring out instant replay this Friday night and show everybody.
I wouldn't be shocked. I'll tell you what, that they've done that before. And that would be a good play by WWE. Keep LA Knight involved in the picture by saying, like, I won that match. And then down the line, that could be his way of getting a title shot again.
All right, so we'll continue on here. Let me take a moment and tell you guys, if you're thinking about getting a new home, all right, you don't know where to look, you know that you need a new home, your family's expanding, whatever the reason is, all right, well, you need to make sure you get a real estate broker you can trust. And that's why I send you to Matthew H. Mashler at Signature Real Estate Finder. Anywhere in South Florida, you're looking for that new dream home. Look no further than Matthew H. Mashler, your trusted real estate broker. Call him today, 561-208-3334. 561-208-3334. Huge pro wrestling fan. One of the founders, co-chair of BRCW, Boca Raton Championship Wrestling. Matter of fact, he would have been front row at Royal Rumble. He goes to all the big shows, except he was on the Jericho cruise this weekend. All right. So if you're looking for a new home, Signature Real Estate Finder, realestatefinder.com. Maybe you're just looking to sell one of your current properties. 561-208-3334. Or if you're already in the real estate business and you're ready to take your career to the next level, you can join the Signature team. The Signature Real Estate companies are South Florida's they're industry leaders, ranked number one in all of Boca, one of the tops in the entire state of Florida. So if you're looking in Palm Beach, Naples, Coral Springs, Delray, Orlando, the Signature team is where you want to be. If you're buying your dream home, you're selling your property, or you're looking to join the best in the business, contact Matthew H. Mashler, 561-208-3334, realestatefinder.com. Matthew H. Mashler, your pathway to exceptional real estate experiences.
I got to point this out. We totally blew past one of the best moments of the Women's Rumble.
What?
R-Truth.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. When R-Truth came out, and I said to my son, we're trying to figure out what's happening. I go, because sometimes, if you're at the events, the commentators, you can get lost a little bit in what's happening. And so I said to myself, I go, I'll bet he thinks that there's only one Rumble and he's number 24. So this has to be his spot. And I'm glad that I watched back the Women's Rumble this afternoon, because the interaction with him and Adam Pearce was very funny.
Brilliant. What happened to your hair? You know what that's in reference to him thinking.
Because he said, go talk to Nick. And then he said, what happened to your hair? He goes, you mean Nick Mysterio?
Yeah. It was so good, man.
This
and by the way, I know we're going to talk about the men's Rumble.
R-Truth, by the way, then says, are you to tell me that all of those in there are women?
Yeah, those are all women. By the way, and I got to say, like, as good as that spot was, not his best spot of the night. I thought he had one of the best all-time moments in the history of the Royal Rumble.
He was fantastic. Man. You don't have anything on the U.S. title match, right? It was fun. It was a good match.
I thought the ending was brilliant. I thought the ending was
good
awesome.
Too.
I thought it was awesome, and now they'll fight at Mania, right? Like, it keeps it going.
No, I think it's LA Knight's spot.
Well, maybe they'll fight at Chamber, but I'll tell you whose spot I actually think it is. I think it's John Cena's spot. I think it's Cena and Logan.
They haven't already fought?
No.
I'll
double check. I looked at it the other day. I don't think so. But Logan Paul.
Tell you what, I know Logan Paul mentioned about that he's thinking of not allowing it to be a hobby and going full time. He really should.
On his,
I mean, should be full time.
I don't know if you listened to any of his podcasts that he had Cena on the other day. He basically said he's full time. Like, he basically said, I'm a wrestler now.
I'm going to tell you something.
Here's what I got.
If he does this for if he were to do this for 10 years full time, I don't think it's crazy to say that he'll be one of the best of this generation. Like,
and all the people who are like, he's part-time and he's like this and that, he's 26 years old. Like, he's starting in the WWE when a lot of people would start in the WWE.
AJ Styles got to WWE, he was like 40.
Yeah, you know? Right. Yeah. So he had the tag match with Miz and first Dom and Ray. He beat the Miz. He fought Roman. He was in the Rumble. Fought Seth Rollins. He was in the Money in the Bank. He fought Ricochet. Beat Rey Mysterio for the U.S. title, and then beat Kevin Owens.
Okay.
And he's walking around. He's walking around. I'm the best U.S. champion of all time. I'm the greatest U.S. champion ever. I'm telling you, I keep saying this. WrestleMania 40, right? If it was 41, LA Knight. But WrestleMania 40, we got to bring out the big guns.
Okay.
Cena's got to be involved with WrestleMania 40. I don't know where else it is. Okay. Logan seems like the right match.
So, the men's Rumble, and
good stuff too.
Great spot to bring Jey Uso in at number 1. The crowd's doing the thing. I'm doing it. I mean, we're into it, man. I'm close to the ring. It's fucking. We're right in the middle of it, man. When you're right in the middle on the floor at these stadium shows for the crowd to erupt, I'm telling you, man, it's a scene. It's really something. It's really cool.
Can I point out? I've always been a big McAfee guy, but it's been pissing me off the last couple times he comes back. He's been co-opting Jay's thing. Like, he goes out there and he does this to the crowd too now. I'm like, dude, stop it. Because you know McAfee's thing, like, he'll do like the Stone Cold thing, and then he'll do the Rock stuff. Those guys are retired. They probably co-signed it. Don't take Jay's one thing that's made him a superstar, like the bounce. Come on, McAfee, do better. Like, Jay, you got to let Jay have that moment. You know? So
we're definitely getting Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania because that face-off between them at the start.
Although
I mean, Jay grilling him and Jimmy with the crazy eyes.
That I couldn't take it seriously though, because he's so unserious mostly. Like, he was so unserious throughout the Rumble. Like,
it seemed pretty serious in that moment.
I think it was, but the face he was making, I was just like, this guy is such a clown. But it was great. He's such a clown though. Like, the way his facial expressions and the way he acts. But it's perfect for his character. But that is, I mean, they're both of them. I think they're both doing the best work, some of the best work, character work of their career as singles guys. But yeah, for sure. I mean, that was an awesome way to start it.
We get the first really big surprise of the night at number 4 with Andrade.
For the men.
Yeah. With Andrade, which was
Gio.
awesome.
Actually, Gio just said Andrade El Idolo, $1 million. What a star. I mean, I couldn't agree more.
He looked so great. His gear was awesome. And I like that he's Andrade El Idolo. That he kept the idol, and he's not Cien Almas. I think it's the right move. And he looked awesome. And look, then we would get at number 7 a few spots later. Santos Escobar comes in, and I dug the interaction, man. Like, Santos thinks because they're both Mexican, they must be friends, and they try to do the thing, and Andrade blows him off, which I think tells you right there Andrade is going to be a babyface, right? That has to be what that means.
I think he's going to be like sort of a tweener. I think he's just going to be his own guy, because I don't think he'll join. Like, I think the natural
he's going to go back and lead LWO and get back with Zelina.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he will. I think he's just going to be him on his. I think I'm on my own.
Because then the LWO is going to die, because like Carlito is not the leader. Like, that's just not
Ray is the leader. He's just been hurt. So I think once Ray comes back, he'll still be the leader of LWO, and I think Andrade will just be his own thing.
Okay, maybe you're right then.
And we'll see if he goes to SmackDown. Maybe him and Charlotte will do some stuff.
Okay. And
but I thought it was cool that at 4 of the first 10 guys in the Rumble were Andrade, Santos, Carlito, and Dom. Like, the 4 of them being in the ring at the same time that early on was just a cool visual. It was just like all these generations of lucha wrestlers. It was very cool.
So Cody comes in at 15, which is great, because like last year he came in at 30 and 1, right? So now at least we're gonna get, like, he's gonna do some work, which is cool. And Gunther comes in at 18. So now shit's starting to get real, right? And it's funny because I thought going into the match that Gunther was going to win. And I thought we were going to get Gunther, Seth Rollins, WrestleMania. But once the men's Rumble is going on last, Gunther couldn't win. We can't go home with Gunther pointing at the WrestleMania sign.
I thought about
that. If Gunther was
going
to win, if Gunther was going to win, it goes on first. And Bayley goes on last. The night does not end with Gunther pointing at the WrestleMania sign.
Right.
So at that point, it really did become about Punk and Cody Rhodes to me. But Gunther did a great job. And Bron Breaker, like if you want to say that Chelsea Green, Nia Jax, for those who didn't win the women's match, were big stars, what are we doing with Bron Breaker not in the main roster at this point? He was awesome.
Well, he is. He said afterwards, this is my home now. He's on the main roster. And the other rumors that have been going around is that Braun's spot, including getting eliminated by Dominic, was the story for Brock. That it was going to be Brock. It was going to be Brock and Dom.
You buy that?
I don't know. We'll see if it's going to be Braun and Dom now. Bron Breaker.
But didn't you think that McAfee that McAfee was McAfee and Brock?
Well, I think it's possible that Braun was going to be in either way, and that they gave him,
think so too.
But that they gave him Brock's story, and that the McAfee spot was just to fill that spot with something.
Yeah,
maybe. Everyone. This is what's been coming out as like the reports is that McAfee's spot was Brock's spot in the Rumble, but the stuff they did with Braun and Dom was supposedly what they were going to do with Brock. Which I don't know if I buy that either, because we always thought it was going to be Brock and Gunther.
Right. Can I tell you?
But sorry, it could have been that Brock and Gunther had, an interaction, and that Brock and Dom were going to fight at Chamber, and then it could have always still been Brock and Gunther at Mania.
That'd have been crazy.
Brock and Dom would be awesome if Brock wasn't. Yeah. It'd be fun.
When Omos got eliminated, and I told you we're right up on the rail where the wrestlers are leaving. It doesn't even make sense how big he is. He was right next to me.
It's crazy.
It doesn't make sense how big he is. And I took a picture at one point when he was face to face with Bron Breakker in the ring. He's like 3 feet taller than Bron Breakker. It doesn't make sense how big he is. It's really weird. Yeah.
It's jarring. I mean, I'll put it this way. I mean, I worked in the NBA, and I was around, like when I was in Memphis, we drafted Hasheem Thabit, if you remember him. He was like 7'4". I mean, I've been around some of these guys. It is jarring to see a human like that tall in person. It's crazy. Like, I mean, I remember the first time I saw Shaq in person, I was like, there can't be a human bigger than this guy. It's like, there just can't be.
Right.
But yeah.
And we get to the best spot of the night, which was R-Truth. Like, how is he? We knew he was coming out 24. How is he going to top what just happened? And him wanting the hot tag from his Judgment Day pal, Dominic Mysterio, was so good. Dominic doesn't want to do it, but then he's like, I got to get out of here because Gunther was choking him out, right? And then he makes the hot tag to R-Truth. That shit was funny. I'm looking forward to the interaction tonight because Damian Priest is now done with R-Truth. Like, he entered the ring, threw him right out. So we got to get to that tonight, right? Yeah,
well, I think, and also you saw Miz and R-Truth did the Awesome Truth thing in the middle of the Rumble. We're getting Awesome Truth versus Finn and Damian at Mania.
At Mania?
Now, I think that's
in 2 months.
I think that's Mania.
I think it's happening soon.
No, I think R-Truth still plays out the delusional. I'm still part of it. It was an accident. Blah blah. And over the next couple of months, Miz finally convinces him, like, dude, no, it's me. It's us, and we go after them. I mean, tonight, Finn and Damian are defending against DIY.
Yeah.
Which DIY winning the titles wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. But I think this is too perfect. Our Truth, Awesome Truth versus winning the titles at Mania over Finn.
I think R-Truth, it feels like R-Truth is in line for a really big WrestleMania moment.
Right. And I think
it feels like it.
Miz is going to be part of WrestleMania. So I think the two of them revisiting that and winning the tag titles, that's a big moment. It's a cool moment, man.
Punk comes in at 27. Crowd's loving it. He's giving high knees to everyone all over the ring. And eventually we get to the final four. Punk, Cody, Drew McIntyre, Gunther. That's a great final four. Any of them can win. You got stories with all four of them. And I think was Drew the first one that was eliminated of that group, and he shook,
by Punk.
Gunther. What's that?
It was by Punk.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then Gunther how did Gunther get eliminated again? Trying to remember.
I don't even remember. I think Cody eliminated him.
Cody did eliminate him. I'm looking at it here. Cody did eliminate him. I'm just trying to remember how it went down. But anyway, then we get essentially a match between Punk and Cody Rhodes.
Awesome.
I mean, they fought for a good 6, 7, 8 minutes.
It was really good.
Yeah, we got a match. It was really good. Unfortunately, Punk got hurt. We already addressed that. If you're just,
but he was already hurt, by the way. From what everyone's saying, it was when he got the Future Shock DDT by Drew is when he hurt himself.
Apparently, there was one point where he rolled under the bottom rope and said to the referee, "My triceps, I'm hurt."
There's fan video of him talking to Jessica Carr.
Yeah,
like basically like pointing it out.
Punk delivers the pedigree to Cody Rhodes, which I thought was really cool. And
and then looked over and was like, "I can't believe I just did that." He said he looked over at the commentary. He's like, "I can't believe I just did that."
Really cool. And then Cody catches him with the go to sleep, and
he said, Punk said, "I didn't come here to lose to Dusty's son. I didn't come back."
Afterward, right?
No, he said it after he did when he did the pedigree.
In the match he said that?
He said it in the match. He said, "I didn't come back to lose to Dusty's son."
Wow.
And a lot of people online are saying like, "Oh, that was the moment I knew Punk was going to lose," which is fair, I guess. But like he said that, and then that's sort of like Cody like hulked up in that moment, I think, and tossed him.
I loved it. Crowd went crazy. And I especially love that Cody then he's pointing at Roman in the suite. "I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you." And I thought it was a great, great way. When the cameras went out, Cody was on the mic. Like that wasn't on the pay-per-view, right? Cody did pick up the mic and address the crowd. Was that on the broadcast?
No.
Yeah, that was not on the broadcast. So Cody addressed the crowd afterward. Couldn't get it done last year, but we're getting it done this year. We're going to WrestleMania. I love you guys. All of that, yada, yada. And everyone went home happy. Really fun night, man. I loved it. I had a great The women's was far superior to the men's, but I had a great time. I loved it. Just right when you think they're going one direction, which was not Cody and Roman, here we are, man. We're getting it. They're doing it.
And the funny thing about all these people that are like somewhat disappointed or whatever, all the internet fans, all the Twitter people, this is all they've wanted. They wanted Cody to win the title from Roman, finish the story. That's what everyone's been calling for. Everyone's still pissed that he didn't win it last year. So what are you mad about? It was a great match.
Great night.
He won it,
It was a great night. And
by the way, can I also say Sami Zayn, perfect for 30 if it wasn't going to be The Rock? Because you knew people were hoping The Rock would come out or whatever.
Yeah, no one's going to boo Sami Zayn.
But Sami Zayn returning at 30 and then going right after Drew was a good spot. I mean, that's a good story. So that was
good. We're going to get that as a program. It looks like.
Can I point out the potential like other option other than Gunther for Seth would be like a triple threat: Drew, Sami, and Seth Rollins, and then try to set like
Sami wins.
Maybe, yeah. But I would I love Gunther. Seth is great, but also like. Gunther, Chad Gable would be great. Gunther, Pete Dunne would be great. Like, there are options for Gunther.
God, how does Pete Dunne not make it in the Rumble? We got to have Omos. Pete Dunne can't get a spot in the Rumble. We haven't seen Omos in years.
But you have to have Omos in the Rumble.
You got to have a giant. There has to be a giant in the Rumble.
Got to have the giant. You got to have the giant. I mean, look, Giovanni, he said, give Omos his props. Maybe Triple H will know what to do with him. Maybe. I don't know. I will say this. There's a reason why Cody Rhodes is going to win the title. There's a reason why Cody Rhodes is going to be the face of WWE. Besides from the fact that he's incredible. The way he answered the Vince McMahon question in the press conference last night, 2 nights ago, is the reason why he is the guy. And also everything he said.
Tremendous representative of the company.
Everything he said, the stuff about Dusty was it was, incredible. The stuff about I'm the guy. Like, I don't talk like this often, but listen, I'm the guy. And then the way he handled especially given the way Triple H handled the Vince questions, which was brutal, I thought.
Triple H is not the head of the company,
Here's the thing. He can't say much in that spot because depending on how deep this goes, maybe he gets named. But so he can't say anything from
he's also not the head of the company.
He's the face of come on. He's the guy in the press conference. He's the chief whatever officer. He's the face of the company. He's going to get those questions. But
I know he's going to get them, but to expect him to answer them, I don't think. I think that's not a very realistic expectation. If Nick Khan was sitting there, different story. If Nick Khan is sitting there, Triple H doesn't run the company. He's not even on the board.
Yeah, but still, I mean, he's the guy. He's involved in everything that happens in that company. I mean, it'd be like if there's a scandal with Mickey Arison, Eric Spoelstra has to answer those questions. But here's what I'll say. It's not even about the fact that he said, like, I'm going to focus on other things. It's the fact that 3 separate times Triple H said, we had a great week this week. Like,
well, they did.
But they didn't, man. I don't care.
They signed a $5 billion deal with Netflix.
That's great. Okay, yeah, but you know what? He's not the head of the company. So did he have a great week, or did Nick Khan have a great week? I mean,
I think it
can't go both ways.
The shareholder,
like how it's pretty tone deaf to be like, the guy who.
But he didn't say it's not a big deal. I mean,
But he multiple times said we had a great week this week. Like, but you didn't. I mean, as great as the Netflix thing is, what happened this week puts all of that in jeopardy.
Well, but also you got to remember, like, there was a cloud on them this week because we just found out about it. They've probably known for a long time that this.
According to Triple H in the press conference, he found out in real time, just like all of us. That's what he said. So if that's true, then he just lied to all of us. Which, hey, maybe he did. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know a lot of the wrestling media was upset about it.
I wasn't. I'll tell you this. I was not upset about him being like, I'm not going to answer, because there's a legal component to it too. Like, he can only say so much. But the doubling down on how great the week was, it's just like, all right, you know what, guys? I can't comment on it right now. Let's talk about let's talk about tonight. Let's talk about how great this show was. But to keep doubling down on, we've had a great week. We've had a great week. It's just like, come on. Like, that coming off the heels of Cody answering it so like perfectly to be caught off guard like that, because I can tell you this, Cody didn't know that shit was coming. Cody didn't know about this lawsuit. There's no way Cody knew that. Like, the wrestlers probably had no idea. Triple H probably had an idea, but Cody, but again, back to the point, perfect example of why Cody's just like, he's like, if you're going to take it off Roman,
representative.
If you're going to take it off Roman, he is the guy. He is the guy.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what, I love this point from Gio, by the way. Heart of AEW, and it shows why he was the face of the company, and also maybe shows why not quite the same since he left that company.
Yeah, maybe.
So,
yeah.
Can I tell you what else I was holding out hope for before we finish? I was MJF.
No, it never even occurred to me. I didn't think about it once.
The whole time, I made up this scenario in my head where Cody and CM Punk are the last two, but number 30 hasn't come out. It's them two, and then MJF comes out. The music hits.
I mean, like, do you want AEW to die? Like, AEW would die.
I know. I don't want AEW to die.
I don't want AEW to die.
I know, but would have been, I mean, one of the greatest.
Yeah, it'd been awesome, but it never occurred to me. I didn't think about it once the entire night. Never occurred to me.
Yeah,
it was a great night.
You know what I was thinking on the TNA thing too? I think, wouldn't it be cool? Like, there's been all these rumors about what's going to happen with Drew McIntyre because his contract and this and that. Is he happy with his situation? Wouldn't it be cool, like, Drew versus Dolph for the TNA title in TNA?
In
TNA. Like, Dolph's in TNA. Drew, like, when he left when Drew left WWE, he went to TNA, and that's how he rebuilt himself partially.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. It could even be storyline. It could be like Drew could actually re-sign with WWE, but then storyline, he leaves WWE and goes and wins the TNA title.
Uh-huh.
From Dolph. because they have a history. Remember when Drew came back, he was with Dolph.
Yeah. Of course, he brought him into the main roster. Absolutely.
Right. That'd be cool.
Good stuff, man. It was such a fun night. It was my favorite all-time moment I've ever been at was Bayley winning. It was the most fun I've ever had at a WWE show. Tropicana Field is a dump. I mean, let no one tell you otherwise. I don't know that anyone would. Absolute dump. Yeah. And overall, it was a great night. I had so much fun. I can't wait for the next big show to go to. I can't wait, man. Awesome. Great job, Joey. Today's show brought to you in part by Bet Online. And Joey, why don't you tell all your fans that you'll talk to them again this weekend? Go ahead.
Talk to you guys this weekend. Enjoy. We got Raw in 10 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Enjoy yourselves. Have a great week.
All right, guys. We love pro wrestling. Make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. Tell your friends, tell your mother I say hello. We'll talk to you on the next edition of It's Still Real to Me. See ya.